chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, the wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies, under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horses thunder in the night.
Welcome, Patriots, to the Cowboys and Indians podcast, episode 48, man.
48.
How is that doing? Man, that's great. I'm your host, the Native Patriot. Of course, with me today is Steve, who loves ammo very much.
I love
He's a
ammunition.
cowboy.
Love it.
I'm the Indian. If you
No,
guys
that's
couldn't put that together.
But we're like
There
reversed
is-
on the words at the top. So that might,
Yeah, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, that might confuse some people, but I'm sure that they'll piece it together. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, right. I'm native, you're the
There's a
cowboy.
couple-
We're going with that.
There's a couple things on the docket today. Quite a few things happened. I know that there's a bunch of stuff that happened in my state in the past couple days where Bob Ferguson, our governor, the communist POS, has decided that it's a good idea to sign a couple laws that go directly against the Constitution. One of them would be House Bill 1163, I believe, which is a permit to purchase. So you have to get permission from daddy government in order to buy a firearm, in order to even exercise your right, which is directly against the Constitution. We will talk about that a little bit later. Also, he signed into law another bill which basically strips the rights of parents in order to I'll break it down later, but basically it strips the rights of parents to even know if their child was sexually assaulted. It pushes that back. It's insane. And it gives children the ability to consent legally, not to physical interaction with adults, but for their own medical decisions without the knowledge
well, I was
of parents.
just as bad, but yeah.
Well, yeah, this
Sort
is
of like
step
California.
one.
Yeah.
It's granting the right to kids to consent, and it's not with sex, but it is with medical decisions, which and these are like permanent medical decisions.
Right,
So if you
yeah.
grant that ability, it's step one to pedophilia. It's disgusting.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you, is that law only for sex changes, or is it for so I used to be a paramedic, right? And if the patient was a minor, we would have to ask the parents for medical consent, right? Obviously. But if the adult, or if the patient is over the age of 18 and they're unconscious or whatever, we were protected by state law with implied consent. So implied consent essentially just means if the person was in a right state of mind, we were able to treat how they would want to be treated, which obviously if somebody is in cardiac arrest over the age of 18, yes, try to save my life, right? So is this giving... So I'm just trying to figure out where this gray area is. So now can children in the state of Washington be able to make their own decisions? Say, I don't know, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I don't want to take insulin or anything anymore. Can they start doing that now?
I don't
know.
So,
I don't know.
Because it is basically medical freedom from the age 13 on. So they actually get a separate my chart that the parents don't have access to, and the doctors can meet with the kids and kick the parents out before they talk to them.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
And they will get prescribed all of these hormone blockers.
Mhm.
And, you know, I heard the other day that Biden, because he has prostate cancer, right? And one of the
Right.
drugs that they give him is Lupron. Now, if you
Mhm.
guys don't know, Lupron basically chemically castrates a male, and
Okay.
the way that it helps prostate cancer patients is that it helps lower the rate of the spread, because once
Okay.
that drive is once the testosterone will basically help the spread of prostate cancer. So what they do to mitigate that is they give him Lupron, which will, you know, sterilize Biden. It will lower his testosterone and it will slow the spread.
Sterilized at a younger age, but anyways.
13-year-olds in Washington State can get Lupron prescribed to them by a doctor, even if their parents don't want them to.
Dude, oh my God. Mama Bear brought up a good point. Who's going to pay for all these medical bills? Are the insurance bills? Are the parents still responsible for this?
That's the
You know what I mean?
that's the really, dude. Yes, the parents are going to be on the hook.
That I don't understand. I think that case needs to be brought up to the Supreme Court. Honestly, man, this is just sick and twisted. I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand the whole sick trans grooming ideology that's going on, and man, it's really unfortunate for the good people of Washington that this is going on.
So since we're kind of stuck on this topic, before we get to the president, the South African president being embarrassed in front of the world by
No, it's
Trump,
funny.
we'll kind of get through this, because this is a topic that kind of needs to be discussed, and this is actually something that it seems like almost every time I post about it, I get like 2,000 views. So I like 1% of my following count. So it's not even being shared to like new people at all. It's just like my following count is over 200,000. I'm getting under 1% of my following count even able to see this crap. But regardless of that, I'm going to get past that.
Yeah.
But so Washington State Democrats vote against informing parents about sexual assault of a child by a school employee. So this is what the bill entails. I mean, there's a lot to this bill that it is literally protection for pedophiles. They'll call it like students' rights, basically, because they want to separate the students. Dude, they want to separate the students or minors from the parents having any knowledge of what's actually happening to them.
Correct.
And that includes sexual assault from an employee.
Oh, wow. That is, I know that's crazy, but like, so now they're protecting their own faculty from raping minors, essentially, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, but nothing else surprises me anymore. So,
in a move that has sparked fierce backlash from Republican lawmakers and parental rights organizations, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson signed House Bill 1296 into law on Tuesday, effectively dismantling key provisions of Initiative 281, a voter-backed parental rights initiative supported by over 454,000 Washingtonians. Now, this is something that we should understand. It is extremely difficult to get petitions signed. And the 454,000 Washingtonians are the ones that were aware enough and were willing to sign an initiative. It's not just 454,000 people that want these rights. It is the ones that were aware enough to sign this petition. So it is substantially more that would agree with a petition like this.
For sure.
Basically what Democrats did, so the people of Washington backed this bill to remain it so the parents have the rights to understand what the kids are being taught, what medical procedures they're being exposed to or prescribed. And the Democrats just completely dismantled all the measures of that bill by passing this, because House Bill 1296, sponsored and passed by the Democratic majority, it's basically a supermajority, revises the parental rights measures that was enacted with bipartisan support just 1 year ago. It was only a year that we were able to hold this back. And this is why I want to go full, like, crusade on these people.
Yeah, for sure.
it has only been 1 year, and they already dismantled all of the parental rights from that bill, from the people.
God,
No, they
dude.
went behind the will of the people to create this initiative and pass this bill and put it into law.
So yeah, they subverted the will of the people, bro. Like I don't
Oh,
understand
yeah.
why we're sugarcoating this shit. Um, it's insane. It's because these people that are in power right now do not give an absolute fuck what you have to say. And this is not only at the state level. This broadens way further up to the national level. It's
Yeah.
sickening, dude. I was thinking earlier. When was the last time you think we were represented as American people? What year?
Say it again.
He was like, "Oh, I'm thinking of the next topic." In your opinion, when was the last time you think the American people were actually represented properly by the people that they elected?
I don't know. I'm not sure, because the further you go back in history and the more information we get about declassified CIA operations, the
Mhm.
more I kind of realize that we haven't really been in control for a very long time. And I mean, it's definitely since the central bank system was created.
Yes.
But I mean, you look at something as simple as modern art. You know, the art that looks like somebody threw some paint at it,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's like it goes for like $1 million. It's like, well, my
Yeah.
6-year-old could create that, but for some reason
Like
it's $1 million.
I'll dip my wang in a jar of paint and just fling it on a canvas. There, it's called
Hmm.
art. Like,
So the creation of modern art was a CIA operation.
mhm.
And
Really?
the only reason it became popular, well, for one, it was one of the operations that the CIA had. You can say that it was for a good cause, because it was against the communists, that we were
Okay.
trying to basically show the world that American capitalism and our freedom is better than communism. But it was still a CIA operation that created modern art and made it so darn popular that it became, a money laundering system, basically. So
Yeah. Hence
when it's
Hunter
when it's
Biden.
something as simple as that, right? As simple
Right.
as what we see as art, knowing that it's a CIA operation, knowing that there's been so many false flags, knowing that our
Mhm.
debt has been growing substantially, especially since we got off the gold standard. I know we had problems before that, but it feels like the people haven't been in control for a long time. It's like we've just been
True.
mitigated and controlled, and it hasn't been and I we haven't been represented or having our rights protected for at least my entire lifetime, and from what I
Course,
can
course.
see from history from before that. Because I mean, even Rosa Parks was a deep state operation. That
Yes.
entire thing
Did
was
you know Rosa
staged. It
Parks
was
had her
fake.
own vehicle? She had her own vehicle.
Yeah.
She didn't have to ride the bus. I don't
So
know if a lot of
again,
people know that. So, but yeah,
well,
I would say
so
if I had to guess, it'd be 1800s.
somewhere in
That'd be my.
there, yeah.
Someone said 1776. Yeah, that's fair too. Um, but yeah, I would definitely before 1913, 100% without a fact,
Yep.
or without a doubt. Oh, God, have had a long day. Leave me alone. Anyways, man, we can go on this over for a very long time, and we're 15 minutes in. Let's get on to South Africa.
Okay. South Africa, man. This was actually pretty funny today, because you can see
Yeah.
and okay, talking about being represented.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a lot of this stuff is just staged, right? Like a lot of the politics that we see is grandstanding,
Yes.
virtue signaling,
Mhm.
and nobody's been really held accountable. It is good to see this face on the South African president here, because he was called out publicly. I mean, this is in the this is I don't know if it's in the Oval, it's not in the Oval Office, but it's in the White House, right? He
Yeah.
came to the White House, and they put on they, they showed exactly what he was saying. You know,
Yeah.
kill the white
'Cause-
people, basically kill the
Mhm.
Boer.
But yeah, because he was trying to call Trump's bluff, and Trump was ready for him, dude.
Oh,
He
yes.
like he's like, kill the lights. I'm like, oh shit. And then when we rolled the film, and I don't know if are you gonna display that video that I sent you
Yeah,
or no?
I can pull it up.
Okay.
Now my internet is somewhat struggling right now, so forgive me, because
You got to cut some trees down and put up your Starlink.
you know I live out in the middle of the woods. It is what it is. Why can I not click this? Yeah, it's not even letting me click it. Okay, hang on.
I think every time we have this awkward silence from now on, I'm just gonna get up and dance. Because my dancing is like really terrible. So it would like probably just expedite the process.
So this isn't the one that he killed the lights, though.
No. That's the
Oh,
one,
okay.
the alternate. Margot Martin had shared that. Mama Bear wants a Trump dance.
But yeah, so this is what was shown. And this is with everybody watching.
Yes.
And he obviously he's said it more than once. This isn't a you know a one-time thing where he was like hyped up by a crowd and got overly like hyperbolic with his rhetoric. No, this is his central message: kill the Boer, kill the white farmer. And the Democrats and the left, the media, the communists of this country, the deep state, whoever pulls the strings behind the curtain, have decided that the best way to move forward is to defend people like this, is to defend a guy getting into power who is saying kill the white man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been popular in the United States. Now,
yes,
for the past decade, it has been anti-white racism rampant everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean it's not even the United States; it's literally worldwide, and we see that happening a lot. And I know I think Maurice is going to want to talk about black fatigue here in a bit.
Yes,
but it's just a culmination of things that have been going on for a very long time. And you know, you just find it funny how these liberals, you know, if they support immigrants from other countries or illegals or whatever you want to call them, if they're, you know, non-white. But as soon as, you know, old whitey comes over from South Africa because they're actually, you know, seeking asylum in the United States, then they're up in arms. But it's kind of like the tribalism thing we were talking about the last podcast. Like no matter they don't care as long as it goes within their party lines, you know, the liberals and you know what, Republicans too. But this is a topic of a larger discussion because this divide and conquer thing is really going on, and a lot of people being psyoped right now into the divide and conquer. I just noticed it more and more, how more people, a lot more hard line to their side than probably they should be. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to figure out what's not a psyop, because it's more than likely that everything that we see is a psyop, and it's
true.
Like, I don't want to like be black pilled because I'm by nature I'm a positive person, and like one of my dreams or goals in life obviously is to grow old and have a family, and like that's what I really want. And I feel as if I'm never going to actually get there. Whether it be the
Mhm.
geomagnetic pole shift that apparently the government's been preparing for, that's a whole rabbit hole that we can go down. That would,
Yeah,
you know, just
that should be like our conspiracy Friday.
yeah, yeah. Well, I
That'd
mean,
be good.
that
It's
lady on
not.
Tuck Carlson show, I forgot her name, but she came out and was like,
Mhm.
yeah, the government has spent $21 trillion preparing for this cataclysmic event that is going to wipe out, you know, there are some people that say that like the magnetic pole shift is going to not be as catastrophic as some are predicting. But you know, I had an
Mhm.
interview with Davison.
I don't know.
I
Doesn't
forgot his
have a.
last name. The Sun Weatherman on X, right?
Okay.
My interview with
Oh yeah, I
him,
think I know what you're
like
talking about. I think it's Davison.
yeah, he explains in great detail how this geomagnetic pole shift is going to basically reset our civilization. And by all available evidence, I can kind of see exactly how it is true. That's one of the like the more true things that
Mm.
I've seen with somebody honest and showing information and evidence.
Ooh.
And so as like far as being convinced, that is one of the things that I am almost certain will happen, probably within my lifetime. And but
Mm.
in a lot of ways, I have to act as if it's not true. Otherwise, you know, it's like
Man, I kind of want to talk about this now because I'm like, all right, $21 trillion, dude. So, like, here's a conspiracy within a conspiracy now. Man, oh God, I want to. I'm like, do I want to go down this rabbit
hey,
hole? Do I want? I'm just
everybody,
gonna.
listen. Right now, everybody else is talking about Trump and the South African
Okay.
president and all that shit. So if you guys want to see that and continue on that conversation, you can watch everybody else because that's what everybody's talking about right now.
Okay,
And
fair
yeah,
enough.
it was funny, it was good, but this, you know, why not go down this rabbit hole? We could do whatever we want.
All right, cool. Yeah, actually, yeah, this is our fucking podcast. um, okay, conspiracy within a conspiracy. Here we go. You said $21 trillion have been fed into this, right?
Yeah.
What if Doge is uncovering all of this fraud, waste, and abuse, but they are psyoping everybody to believe that it was just fraud, waste, and abuse from these government organizations, but the truth is they were feeding all of this money into the geomagnetic shift.
Oh, into preparing for that, I mean
Yeah. Because
that.
like why hasn't anybody been held accountable yet? You know what I mean? Like there's hundreds of billions of dollars and then we're okay, so here's the ruse. All right. So we found out this what all this money was going to. Now we're going to cut these organizations, but that money that we're cutting is still going to it.
I mean, it feels like it's something that we're not allowed to figure out, and something that humanity
Mhm.
should have been preparing for as soon as we figured it out 60 70 years ago when they were like, okay, this is probably going to happen. um and
Mhm.
I mean, this there was a I wish I could remember names, but there was a book that came out in regards to the geomagnetic pole shift, how it's going to happen, and then the CIA classified it. They took it away. We got it back in the 90s, and with
Okay.
some parts redacted. There were a couple versions that came out, and if you look throughout history and kind of
Mhm.
the missing parts of our civilization's history, not just our, maybe humanity's history in general,
Mhm.
we were kind of taught to believe that like 2,000 years ago they started, you know, or a couple thousand years ago they started agriculture, and then they were able to build these things, and then we start to learn of places like, what is it, Ugekla Tepe, at
Yes.
where it was built
In
like
Turkey, I
12,000
believe.
years ago, and all of
Mhm.
the things about the pyramids that are just blatantly false history that we've been taught,
Yeah.
like
So
that the pyramids were tombs for pharaohs, when no pharaoh has ever been found in any. There's been no bodies, mummies ever found in any of the tombs. There
mhm.
was obvious water damage on the Sphinx. There's evidence that the Sphinx itself has been Gobekli Tepe. That's what it is. Um, there's obvious signs that the Sphinx itself, like the head of it was chopped off, and the new civilization, the Egyptians, basically put a new face on it. And so like our
Hmm.
history is so unknown, and it feels like we have been
Yeah.
reset so many times, and that there are higher powers that know about this and just kind of
Right.
let the pieces fall where they may for the majority of civilization, and they do
Hmm.
what they can to preserve themselves. And I guess some form of keeping technology in order to maintain their elite status. Like once civilization resets, they are able to control the technology of
Hmm.
civilization, which is like it's just the more you go down this kind of rabbit
Yeah.
hole, and the more you realize that, like, okay, most
Okay.
people are idiots about most things. Like all the experts that we've been told for so many years know about all these things. Like
Yeah.
growing up, I thought that like we knew about the human body, the food pyramid was true, and vaccines actually prevent
Oh yeah.
diseases. Like all of these things, big pharma is actually
Mhm.
working to like better humanity. And then you start to realize that, like, okay, a lot of these, like, big pharma's just out to for one, make money and treat symptoms,
Correct.
not actually cure any kind
Mhm.
of diseases. And then you kind of see the propaganda, and once you get past that point, and you look throughout history, and all of the solid things that we were told,
Mhm.
where do you go from there? Because
Yeah.
like Jesus said that what did he say? He said, I'm the way, I'm the truth, and I'm the life, right? And
Yes.
it seems like there's so many falsehoods presented to us in the day-to-day information that I'm now skeptical of like all of it. So
Yeah.
even
Well, that's
when we're
how it should
shown
be.
things like Trump, um even things when we're shown like Trump just blasting the South African president, it's like that's cool and all, but I would really like to. It seems like this is such a small battle that it almost feels to me
Yeah.
insignificant, because he's
I
battling
agree.
like he's battling the media saying that there's no genocide happening. And I mean, and I'm not saying they're not worth it, right? The farmers down
Right.
there, they're worth saving, but it feels like a small
Yeah. It's
battle.
like it's very surface level.
Yeah.
Like the thing with the South African president. Like, yeah, that was a really cool. Like, we got you. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
does it matter? Has anything changed because of it? Not really. And will anything change up because of it? No. I mean, it was funny. Yeah, sure. But I mean, I kind of want to backtrack to where, because you kind of talked
Yeah.
about
Sorry,
pyramids and
went on
things.
a little
No,
rant.
no, 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 no. That's good. That's the point of this. Like whenever you're on a roll, you get conversation going. But I think, have you ever watched the show Ancient Aliens?
That is one that I actually haven't seen, but I've seen a bunch of
Okay.
things that like stem off from that.
Okay, that's cool. That guy with the weird hair, and he's like aliens. That show. So like the way I like to think about things is you have what you've been told, and then you have like the outliers. And I kind of like to move everything to the center because that's probably closest to the truth. You know what I mean? But with the pyramids themselves, when the Egyptians were building their pyramids, so were the Aztecs. And so, there are different pyramids throughout the world that were all built at the exact same time. So, what Ancient Aliens is trying to state is that essentially there are aliens that have brought technology, and they helped build the pyramids, which I probably don't believe. But I mean, I don't know, because we're never told the truth about anything. Sort of like Antarctica. Like, what the hell is going on down there? It's no-fly zone for any country, any established country or
Well, and there's a
superpower, whatever.
worldwide conspiracy of or like treaty on how you can explore Antarctica, and there's very controlled parts. It's similar to
Correct.
the Grand Canyon. There's parts of the Grand Canyon you and I are not allowed to go in. We're not allowed to explore. We're not allowed to go look around
It's like
and
a
see what's
gated off
there.
government. Huh.
Yes, there.
Interesting.
If you go into certain parts of the Grand Canyon, there are helicopters and military personnel that will show up and stop you from going any further. It is monitored 24/7, and
Yeah.
you, as a United States American citizen, are not allowed to go there.
That's
Why?
very interesting.
Why?
Yeah.
What are they? It's like it feels like there's a truth that I'm never going to get access to, and it bugs the shit out of me because of the exact story that we're told, and
Mhm.
it doesn't sound right. Like if you look throughout American history in general,
Yeah.
there are so many times where you're just like, I don't know if that's the way it really played out. It feels like like we're just playing the story. And the reason I haven't watched Ancient Aliens is because it almost feels like backtracking in like on my road down certain conspiracies. Ancient
Mhm.
Aliens feels like I'm backtracking in those conspiracies.
Okay.
Like
I mean,
I'm further down the rabbit holes than that.
okay, fair enough. But I mean, they do bring up a lot of good points with the pyramids and the star alignments and things like that. How they weren't tombs, but they were like gateways to the heavens and okay,
No,
it's
they were generators. They were basically or
mm,
resonators, really. So they took energy from the earth, and the vibrations from the earth resonated
mhm,
within the pyramids to create free energy that was transferred from the top of the pyramids. And you look at a lot of the old world buildings that
mhm,
have the tech on top of them. You know, like everything used to have a dome, and then
right,
they used to have that little thing. That was basically how they theorize how they used to get free energy all around the world. And there's so many parts
mm,
in America that have these, I mean, that have pyramids.
what,
I mean, there's plenty of pyramids in America, which is
mhm,
really interesting, but a lot of them are just covered up by dirt and yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to go down this road because
yeah,
it's either there are like what would you say that there's just like this cabal of elitists that are pushing humanity down a certain pathway like as an experiment. Like it almost feels like
okay,
humanity itself is the experiment. And it's weird to think about
hmm,
because of just the way
that's a very
the
grand experiment.
this is just like my kind of personal theory, right? That I've kind of
Yeah,
taken from the various theories that I've seen. If you were to incorporate some of them, I can't really explain to you
yeah,
exactly like which theories I
uh-huh,
kind of thought in, but the population expansion within the past 300 years itself is mind blowing if you think about like what were humans doing before this, right? Like
like
just through,
like the period, the 60,000 years of human existence. You meaning like how it was
yeah.
just kind of like flatline and then boom, last 300 years and just
It's
exponentially
it's
the
it's it's
exponential
yeah, it's
growth. Yeah,
it's not just boom, it's boom. It's I mean,
yeah,
it's straight up. And it seems almost impossible, but it seems like humans in general would like it seems like that's a natural thing for humans to do, and that they're able to cultivate, or I mean, they're able to expand life in this way in a matter of a couple hundred years. Like, are you telling me that there's never been a time in human history before where our population just exploded like this? Like, are
yeah.
are
True.
we like why isn't the human population like if you look at the past 300 years and the way humanity
Mhm.
all around the world has exploded,
Right.
you would think that our history as humans, there's evidence of like 200,000 years ago, we found evidence of humans, right? Why isn't the
Hmm.
graph like this? Population explosion, decline. Population explosion, decline. Explosion, decline.
Well,
Like why
what
isn't it
they're gonna
like that? They say that
well they'll tell you it's like the ability to for shelter, food, persistent ability to gather food, water, all of that stuff. But I mean, are you kind of alluding to like maybe there were huge like extinction events in the
yeah,
past?
there's several. I think it is way more common than we've been told.
Hmm, that would be interesting. Well, then where would the remains be then? are the structures, or you think it was just like technology never got to where it was until now, but it was just like huge nomadic tribes throughout history.
I think that technology has probably been to this point, or maybe like a different route of technology several times
Okay.
before.
So
Because
then you would think Atlantis would be real then.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And maybe not like the exact version of Atlantis is like you would think, but I mean there has to be other ways to create technology. We know that they're like we're kind of
Right.
stuck in this petroleum thinking of energy and transportation and things like that, because all of our infrastructure is built around it. But there's definitely other ways of
Oh, absolutely. Like Nikola
technology
Tesla,
expansion. Yeah,
like the Tesla coil. And then I believe there is technology right now to pull actual drinkable water straight out of the air.
I could see
I
that.
believe there's some
I mean-
device. I would have to look it up and show it to you, but I believe there's a device that could just take the humidity or the water that's in the actual air and convert that into drinkable water or potable water. I'll look it up and I'll show it to you.
I said, Mom Bear says, "Oh my goodness, go look at Jay Anderson, and they have sonic waves or whatever it's called, of pillars below the Great Pyramids." Yes, I saw those, and it almost feels like a lot of our past civilizations have been buried. Like a lot of it's underground, and a lot of it's under the ocean. And I mean, if you think like it, let's say
That's why we. Okay, go ahead.
Let's say a solar flare hits tomorrow, right? A solar flare that knocks out all of humanity's electronics. Our civilization would collapse almost to nothing. Right?
I would
all
agree.
around the world, there's almost nothing you can do to prepare for something like that. If every bit of our technology disappeared overnight, we would be screwed, and we would probably all die. Right? And like, it's not a great thing to talk about, but it's
correct.
The likelihood
reality.
of you being able to survive for years and years with something like that happening is very, very,
unless
very,
you're
very, very slim.
Yeah, you would have to be fully self-sustaining and have the protection necessary to have a chance.
That's the main part is the protection, because even if you're fully self-sustaining, you would have to have a miniature army at your disposal in order to protect your self-sustaining area. And that would be extremely difficult. So it sounds like the bunkers that the elites have is probably the best way to go, because
yep. Or having your own piece of property in kind of the middle of nowhere if you can. But I mean, do you that to me that's a conundrum. Do you want to be one of those doom preppers, or do you want to live in the city? You know what I mean? I don't want to live in the city personally.
Think about this. This is always something like the area that I'm in the foothills of Mount Rainier, right? And my town has like 2,600 people in it, but the towns nearby have tens of thousands of people.
Right.
If the technology went out tomorrow and all the hunters decided like, I'm going to go get my own food, how fast do you think it would take for the deer population and the cow population to disappear? You wouldn't have refrigeration, and there's only so many deer. They would all be annihilated. All of the food around us, like you could hunt for like a couple weeks before everything's gone. All the rabbits, all the birds, all the deer, everything would be gone. And then once that's gone, it turns to like, I don't know, cannibalism. People would start hunting people.
That would get ugly.
It would get very ugly, because there's the only reason that we can still hunt as a country is because it is very controlled. If everybody decided to go out and hunt every deer that they saw for food, or horses, gone.
Well, yeah, because it would be human nature. They would just shoot up every living, breathing animal. You know what I mean, and not have the ability to learn how to dry the meat or process or do whatever you needed to do. And dude, it would just, like you said, they would just wipe out really fast.
Yeah. So almost every animal would be gone. Yeah, and then they move outwards. Exactly. So
Mhm.
the city
that's
people
when-
would use up all their resources, and then they would start moving outwards. And all the country folk would be like, "We're going to be good because we can go out and hunt." But all of a sudden, 2 weeks after the technology disappears, all the hunting is done because there's nothing else. There's no animals left. There's more people
You're
than
not
there are
self-sustained,
animals.
correct.
So you can't rely on hunting. So what are you going to do? You're going to start a farm? Okay. Well, how are you going to last through the winter?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're like, if that were to happen and you weren't prepared, you're pretty much done for, because there is just so much prep and work that you would need to do to be able to do something like that. Truthful Trolls said foraging, that only goes so far too. And depending on the season, you know, you would just run out super quick. But yeah, just being like, that's what I'm trying to do, man. I'm I'm prepping my property right now, and I'm going to start getting chickens. And I have the pond in the back. And the good thing about the pond that I have in the back, even during probably the hottest summer on record here in Texas, where it was over 100 degrees for, I think, a month and a half straight, the pond did not go dry. I believe that we have. I have water.
Buy a lot of those water filters, like those
Yes,
those drinkable filters that you can drink like 21,000 gallons.
The rescue
out of.
straws.
They're like, yeah, they're super cheap. You just buy a bunch of those, and then you can drink water from anywhere, which is insanely helpful because boiling water, I mean, important, but it also wastes a lot of water as well. So if you only have limited water, you want to be able to have a filtration system that you can
the best thing you would have to get would be a like a 55-gallon drum, and you can remind me your address, Steve. I lost it. No, go ask the people that swatted me. But anyways, half of the that 55-gallon drum would have to be sand, and then the other half would have to be charcoal, and then you would have to boil it. So it's just a gigantic process. But if you could get those rescue straws, probably the best, or if you can collect rainwater. But yeah, man, it's kind of insane what you would have to do.
Yeah. And this is kind of what the elite have been. I'm sure that they've had discussions like this where they have said, like, basically written off the majority of people.
Mhm.
So if there was a cataclysmic event coming, there's no way for them to save 350 million people.
And they wouldn't
the
even
United
tell us,
States.
in my opinion.
Why
I
would
don't
they?
think they would tell us. Because, yeah, like, you know how you see like those cataclysmic movies, like, oh my gosh, like an asteroid or something.
Like 2012.
They tell everybody. Yeah, they're like, okay, guys, well, look, here in 72 hours, an asteroid's going to impact the Earth. Bro, they would never tell anybody that. Never. Imagine the chaos. Look at what happened during COVID. A case of the fucking sniffles, dude. These people were going after toilet paper and like creating riots because of this. There is no way, end of the earth, cataclysmic thing, they would ever tell us about it. It would just be done. That's why all these elites have built their bunkers, because they're going to be told about it, but it won't be us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, man, that like and in all reality, if their goal was to preserve humanity,
Mm-hmm.
would it be in humanity's best interest to tell the population about it?
I don't know. No, I don't think so, man. I don't think people can mentally handle it. You know what I mean? Like, say, all right, an asteroid's gonna hit the Earth, but we have four ships. You know, I think there's a movie about this where you would get a ticket and you would get off the planet to go like to Mars or something like that. I don't think they would inform people. I just don't see it.
Well, even Mars wouldn't be a safe place. Like
Well,
Mars
yeah.
flips its pole positions as well, and we don't even know the atmosphere there. So, but I mean, I honestly believe that humans in general are basically being experimented. I don't know if it's by other humans or if it's by
Oh,
the reptilians, the hollow earth, kind of theory. Like
okay.
if those things are real, if those
Yeah.
things are real, then like it's, I don't
Have,
know.
have you have you watched Rick and Morty?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so do you remember the episode where like the aliens were using Earth as a reality TV show?
Okay.
So
Um,
that's what
yeah.
when you're talking about that earlier, that's what it made me think of. I believe it was it aliens were like in this ship and they're overlooking Earth, and I forgot the exact premise behind the episode, but it was like we're gonna like something happened on Earth and they're watching and they're like, oh, we're gonna cancel this next season of Earth, basically in the Earth because the ratings sucks or whatever. But do you should I even ask? Do you think it's even that far where like aliens are controlling us and they're experimenting on us? And I probably shouldn't even ask that question because that is like a very far, like outlandish conspiracy. But how hilarious would
Yeah.
that be? You know, who are the star characters? Donald Trump,
Yeah. I mean, it would be something like if there was an alien show per se,
Mhm.
watching over Earth, and they had some influence on us. Yeah, there would be main characters like Donald Trump, and they would toy with things. Like imagine
Mhm.
if like it would be like a show of us watching or trying to study monkeys or like
Okay.
just
Yeah.
other little creatures. They would kind of watch from the outside and just yeah, I don't know if they would necessarily interfere, but I mean there's okay. So I don't know if you ever seen do you ever watch the Y Files?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you gotta you gotta watch some of these. I'll send you a couple episodes to watch.
Okay.
Maybe we should watch one on like as a for like a watch party because this is a lot of fun. That there's
Oh my God, dude. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this could be like a Mystery Science Theater 3000, but like our podcast, like but it's where these two guys were like sit down and they would play a movie, but like their backs are turned to you, and they would kind of like cut the movie off, and they would kind of talk a little bit about it, and then hit play again.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean so there's an episode in particular that in with my research outside of that uh
Hmm.
it is fairly convincing that basically the moon it's going
Oh
to sound
God,
so
here we go.
outlandish from it's like from left
Go
field,
for it.
okay? But basically that the moon is like the moon is hollow and it was
Uh-huh.
basically a spaceship of some sort or
Yeah.
it is a planet installed by another civilization, whether it be from humans from the past civilization or aliens from whatever. And
Right.
basically during these and I'm inferring a little bit of my knowledge
Yeah.
and what they portrayed is
Okay.
that basically whoever survives these cataclysmic events, they revisit the humans and give them some technology and help restart
Mm.
the civilization, the experiment again. They help restart civilization because
Gotcha.
almost every ancient civilization documents that there were beings that would come down and they would
Right.
help restart humanity, give them technology or knowledge or whatever it may be, and then they'll just like let it play out, and then and then eventually the cataclysmic event happens, and then they'll just reset each time and like do different
Interesting.
experiments. And so maybe that's just what we are just experiment lab rats that
Maybe.
are here in order to kind of play out civilization, and then it'll collapse
Yeah.
and the hollow moon people or aliens,
oh my God.
whatever they are, will come down and help
Do a
restart
supply run.
civilization again. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's funny. Hey, we need to make a shout out to our sponsor.
Oh, we do.
And then I think
Yes.
we need to play a video, and then I think we should get into our last topic. You want to do the most American meal of all time? Can we debate that?
Oh, we could do that. Yeah. You guys, the sponsor of this show and of the Patriots Prayer Network and of the Cowboys and Indians is called From the Farm. If you go to fromthefarm.org, it is basically sponsoring local American farms, that if you want to start supporting in-house, in-country American farms, then this is the way to do it. I interviewed this guy about a year ago. He was a fascinating company. It's been expanding. Check this out. I'm going to play his commercial for you.
Since 2017, 150,000 farms have shut down. Working farmland has been reduced by 21 million acres. The system has been crippling the remaining farmers, forcing some to adopt nefarious farming techniques, like pumping hormones and other performance-enhancing drugs into their cows so they can survive in crammed feedlots. Or the farmers are forced to jump ship and sell to land-hoarding, profit-chasing agricultural oligarchies, who use their billions of dollars to crush the competition and increase your family's dependence on their manufactured food. What could possibly go wrong? The family farm will soon be a thing of the past, unless you do something. You can. That's why there's From the Farm, an industry-disrupting platform that connects consumers directly with local farmers, which means you can buy fresh, non-factory farm food, and you'll know exactly where your food came from and how it was raised. For the first time in nearly 100 years, independent farms will have a way to not only survive, but thrive. From the Farm was founded by A.J. Richards, an active homesteader, and Brooke Entz, a CrossFit Games athlete and an Amazonian warrior in the movies Wonder Woman and Justice League. She clearly has a passion for healthy food and a healthy lifestyle. And since both AJ and Brooke come from generations of ranchers and farmers, they know what they're talking about. We can't do this alone. We need the strength of the American people behind us. Help us build a new food system that combines the wisdom of the past with the technology of the future. Investing in From the Farm isn't just a financial decision. It's an investment into our future, our small family farms, and our food sovereignty. Invest today.
It's a whole lot of meat.
Hey, man, meat is one of the best things that you can possibly
Absolutely.
eat. And
Man, you know,
I think
go ahead, dude. I'm sorry. I was about to go on my
more people need
carnivore
to-
rant.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I want to say too, is that
Right.
like, you know, more people need to understand how important meat is for a human's diet, because the food pyramid was an absolute lie. You don't need carbs to live, and all the inflammation in your body, you feeling overly tired, your joints hurting. A lot of that is just caused from inflammation. A lot of diseases are caused by inflammation. Basically, get more sun, eat more meat, drink water, you'll be good.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, man. I was supposed to go on carnivore this week, but I kind of did a little keto just to kind of like flush out all the toxins in my system. And then probably a week and a half from now, I'm going to start hardcore carnivore again. Because, I mean, like the last time I went, like from like the night before, eating a huge plate of Mexican food and drinking a shit ton of margaritas, and then the next day going carnivore, bro, those next like 4 days were pretty rough. So I'm trying to like wean myself back into it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah.
I think the way I'm going to do it, I don't think I'm going to do straight carnivore. I think what I'll do, I'll probably do paleo or keto, whatever you want to call it. And then like once a quarter, do like a 2-week cleanse of just, you know, straight carnivore. I think that's how I'm going to do it.
I mean, 2 weeks is like, you should do a month. Do a full month of straight up carnivore. That's the way to feel all the benefits, because it takes
Yeah.
like a full week for your body to even adjust to it. And then
Okay.
yeah, so a full month is probably the best way to go.
So probably like month carnivore to paleo or keto, whatever, and then restart it again.
Yeah.
Another month of carnivore. You know what I mean? So 4 months of carnivore per year, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's really difficult to just stay on the carnivore diet entirely.
Yeah.
So, I do want to let you guys know as well that Eddie, co-creator of the Patriots Prayer Network, also he interviewed Ryan Matta, and that is going to be premiering here in a couple minutes. It is a really good interview and something that, if you're interested at all in, kind of what's been going on behind the scenes in human trafficking and, I mean, links to the deep state, and it is a horrifying reality that we kind of contend with as a society in letting it slip behind the scenes. But that will be premiering here in a couple minutes. If you go to rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer, you go to rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer, you'll be able to see that interview. It'll also be premiering on my X channel. I don't know if it'll be on yours, Steve, but the Patriots Prayer Network. If you guys are ever curious as to why I go live so often, is because I'm the co-creator of the Patriots Prayer Network. I try and lift up a couple of other American patriotic podcasts' voice as much as I can. With my 200,000 followers, I'm trying to do as much good as I can, and that is one of the ways that I can do it, is help spread awareness for these really good podcasters that don't have quite the following that I do, but have just as much of an impactful voice that should be heard. So rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer. Go ahead and go watch that, guys. Our last topic here of the night. Steve, I heard you mention what the most American meal is. Now, I want to kind of put this in perspective here before I answer a question like this. Do you mean like modern American meal, like or like
just?
I would say
mean? Probably okay. So I would probably say like most modern American meal, because what was the most modern American meal back in the 1850s? Snake meat? Shit, I don't know. You know what I mean? Cattle.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think it is? In your opinion, the most Americana meal? Go with, let's do dinner and dessert.
Okay. Well, I was going to go with like Independence Day cookouts, right? Like hot dogs, hamburgers, baked beans, corn on the cob. Like that to me would signify like the most. See, this is good though. Sushi Bite says it's Thanksgiving, the most American meal.
That's man.
Oh man,
but like, I guess it would depend. Yeah, I guess it would depend on the. I don't know, that maybe I don't want to say like the mentality of the person, but like it kind of is though. Like if you think about Thanksgiving and what it represents versus like what I guess the burgers and hot dogs represent, because you think Independence Day, right? In my opinion, when you think of stuff like that, like the barbecues and all of that stuff, you kind of think of Independence Day. It's a very tough question, but to me, I think if I had to choose one singular dish, it would have to be the cheeseburger with American pie, apple pie. I think though, for dessert, yes, I think that would be the two most Americana things.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's very good. Hey, Maurice.
I love you asking this of Native American. Got to be driving those leftists crazy right now. You know, I'm Native American with emphasis on American. So
yeah,
lefties will generally stay away from me because of the fact that I'm Native American and very patriotic. They don't like to debate me. They don't like to even contend with my ideas at all. For the most part, I'm ignored because they see me and they're just and with the way I push back, they will usually just shut up and disappear. And so I'm treated with apathy more than anything, which is frustrating because my ideas won't get taken seriously because they're too afraid to to contend with the idea that a Native American is patriotic and right
Fair.
wing. Although I'm just a patriot.
Correct.
So
That's the mentality
yeah.
we need to break, dude. It's not about color. It's about
It
American
is.
spirit.
Yeah. It's annoying, man. And
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that I don't know if we have time for this, but it's something that I brought up today, which is like the whole black fatigue thing, and how in our cultural atmosphere, there's been a lot of discussion about
Mhm.
a race war, and
Right.
and people are tired of. I mean, you look at the Carmelo Anthony fundraiser, and then you look at the
Shiloh
whatever her
Hendricks.
name was. Yeah, Shyla Hendricks, her
Mhm.
fundraiser. It's like, oh, race war going on, and it's like that's not exactly the case, because
Mhm.
there
Oh, man.
was a time.
We could
I'm gonna
really
show this
go into
really
this
quick.
topic. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to
And I
show
wanna
this
give
video
a
really quick,
shout out.
okay? Because this is my entire point with this whole black fatigue bullshit that has been going on. It's not the fact that people don't like black people. It's the fact that people don't like this ghetto, ratchet, degenerate culture that has infiltrated the black, the native community, the Hispanic community. Like, all of these cultures have kind of adopted the gangster lifestyle or that persona in general, and it has ruined so many cultures. But I'll tell you what, if black culture in America was like this, if they were like this, then there would be no black fatigue. It is not the fact that people don't like black people. It is the fact that people don't like that degenerate bullshit, anti-American, anti-family, anti-God culture. Everybody is tired of it, and it needs to be called out.
Fair.
They're calling it black fatigue right now, but that's not what it is. That is a way to sell the
Divide.
point to people, and it is a way to divide and conquer. Yes, but I'll play this video for you. It is very important to understand this.
All right, love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all.
Wait, Daddy, wait!
What's up? What's up, man?
Let me tell you one more hug.
All right. Come on, son. Come on, give me a hug, son. Yay. I love you, son. I love you too, son. ¿Qué significa para mí? Believe that. Son, ¿qué significa para mí? Believe that. All right, love y'all. Daddy gotta go to work, okay?
Your answer around?
Deanna, you gotta be good?
Yeah.
All right. You're one of the best sons ever in the world.
You're the best video in the world.
Mwah. All right.
Now, do you honestly believe that anybody in our society today would use that and say that this is an example of why black fatigue is happening?
Absolutely not. And you know what?
No.
Like when I saw that video, I didn't immediately think on race. And people want to perpetrate me as like a white supremacist. All I saw in that, my initial reaction on that one was like, that's a very loving father that loves his children. And you know what? He's doing everything in his power to take care of them. And that, I mean, but whenever you see the negative side of everything, that's where everybody wants to point towards race, and that is what I was trying to get at with the divide and conquer thing, because this has never been about race. It's always been about the content of character. And that's why they go so hard and they push this race baiting stuff, because they know if they see more videos like that father right there, and we actually unified behind that stance, then we can push out all of this negative connotation that's been put on us for decades, and we can actually unite as a country.
The civil rights movement happened in 1964, and the majority of black people at that time, of black Americans, they were Christians, and they exemplified the nuclear family. They wanted to be treated as equals, and that's what they strive for.
Right.
Nowadays, the culture is putting on black people to act like victims more so than black Americans before the civil rights movement. They're acting
Yeah,
like they
damn,
are
yeah,
suffering, and everybody else needs to pay for the suffering of their ancestors. It is sickening. So
right.
the entitlement, the refusal to assimilate into what is supposed to be American culture, the nuclear family has been destroyed.
Hmm.
The way that the 1962 Supreme Court decision, where they removed God from all of our governmental institutions,
Hmm.
it is so frustrating to see how that affected our society, and how one of the reasons why I really like I work with the Native American group. Okay, it's called NAGA.
Yep.
It's the Native Americans Guardians Association. I am an associate board member on in their organization
So you're a
because
nagger.
I believe that yeah, I believe that Native American representation is being destroyed in our country. But
Yep.
I am also like, my first priority is saving the American culture. I don't immediately look at a Native American all the way across. Like, if somebody says drunken Indian, I don't get insulted by that, because I'm not a drunken Indian. I'm not like, I
For
don't
sure.
play into the negative stereotypes. But it seems like the black community has voluntarily adopted that stereotype as good and moral.
Right.
And so
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
they've
Absolutely.
made it so much worse on themselves, and it's like, it's not necessarily their fault, because I believe that if I was raised on the reservation just like my brother, I would be a gangster. I would be in and out of jail. I'd be using drugs. I would be all of those things. Like, you're partially a product of your environment, and you do what you have to do in order to survive. But
Hmm.
at the same time, the culture being forced upon them and promoted is this gangster, degenerate, ratchet,
Right.
horrific culture that will lead to self-destruction anywhere it's implemented. And so
Absolutely.
that's what black fatigue is. Black fatigue is more so about the degenerate culture than it is about black people in general. Because like I said, if the black Americans exemplified what that video that I just showed you, that father
Hmm.
who loves his children, is going off to work and is taking care of his family, if that was black culture and that was what was promoted, there would be zero black fatigue in this country.
Absolutely. Spot on, dude. I can't even follow up with that, because you hit the nail on the head on that one, bro. That's it's just a moral decay. And we can
It
go
is.
on and on about this, because what we can talk about CIA involvement in crack and all that other stuff that probably led to some of this, but at the end of the day, it's people's personal accountability and how they they want to put themselves in the face of the community. If you want to be a gangster out there on the streets, I mean, you're never going to amount to anything in life. But if you want to, get married, have children, procreate, and do all of that stuff and be a good person, then that's what society's going to look at you as.
This is one thing that I really try to promote as much as I can, is that if in order to fix the world, you have to embody the values you wish to see. Otherwise, it's meaningless. And like, what we see from our politicians is rules for thee and not for me. And
For sure.
that will decay society. The more you don't the more you see your leaders betraying the rules that they make,
Hmm.
the more people are going to not listen to it. And
Fair.
I don't think that America has a racism problem. I don't believe that it does, because I'm the product. I'm half white, half native. I'm the product of desegregation, of assimilation, and I don't experience that racism because I don't exemplify the negative stereotypes that have been pushed on, whether it be to natives or
Yeah.
the black Americans of this country. I try to embody the values I wish to see in this world.
For
That's
sure.
why I am a married husband, father. and I work as hard as I possibly can in order to not just provide for my family, but to help build the Patriots Prayer Network as a whole. That's why I'm on this
Right.
podcast, is because I believe that if there's going to be change enacted in this country, then I have to be living that life and show that it is better than what has been shown to you on TV and for what is
Yeah.
to be desired for. We have to be able to combat that. Like, I've posted pictures of my children online. That is a great risk that I'm taking because
Absolutely, brother.
of the predators that are out there. But I've also, and I've done everything I can in order to prevent bad things from happening and to be the protector of my family. I'm very capable. I have friends that are capable. There's so many preventative measures that I've taken in my life in order to try and show exactly how I like what I promote, what I preach is to
Right.
be what I live every single day.
Definitely.
And
Yep.
the anti-family, the anti-nuclear family in particular, propaganda that has come out for years and years is so sickening. And if we are to thrive as a society and as a free people, then we have to embody those values. We have to have children. We have to end abortion. We have to start honoring marriage again, a man and a woman, not a man and a woman under God. And that's the only way that I see our society thriving moving forward. So I try to live it. I try to live what I preach. I try to embody the values I wish to see, and hopefully I'm doing a good job. If you guys think I'm doing a good job, and if you think Steve's doing a good job here, please share this podcast. That's the only way that we can grow. That's the only way that we're going to be able to continue doing this in a more full-time aspect and not continuously kill ourselves. We had to take a couple weeks off earlier this year because of how much we were working in our daily lives, and
Correct.
and then jumping on the podcast multiple times a week. It can get extremely overwhelming at times, but we do want to grow. We do want to expand this. We want to grow the Patriots Prayer Network as a whole, and of course the Cowboys and Indians podcast. So please share this podcast, bookmark it, set a link. You can follow us on Rumble at rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer. Same thing on YouTube. You can. I have a YouTube channel as well at Law Native Patriots. Same as my handle. Make sure to, if you can, support, which really helps you guys. I mean, this is actually one of the main things that helps me personally are the subscriptions on my X profile.
Yeah.
And same thing with
Definitely.
Steve. Like that, it's not a very common thing, but it really does help. If you can subscribe on to our X profiles, that makes a huge difference behind the scenes to where we're financially supported and can I guess compete with a lot of these networks that are putting out these podcasts, these disingenuous podcasts. Like, I don't know if you guys saw it today. This will be really quick, and then I'll be done.
I gotta do too. So let's wrap it up, B.
All right. Where Steven Crowder went on Pierce Morgan's podcast. Pierce Morgan's podcast is called Uncensored. The mainstream media saw the writing on the wall. They knew that their outlets were dying. So a lot of these legacy media types like Pierce Morgan their producers created these podcasts with these catchy names like Uncensored, where they still censor words. They still censor viewpoints. It is just the mainstream with a new face on it and new marketing. So if we are ever to be able to compete with that, please visit our sponsor, fromthefarm.org. Please subscribe to our X channels. It's incredibly helpful. So I do want to thank you guys for watching the podcast and joining in today. We're going to try to be back on Friday. I know we say that every week. We've only done it a couple times, but Friday we're gonna come back and maybe talk about some more conspiracy theories or some crazy shit. So
before we go,
Steve,
I gotta give.
You got anything to say?
Yes, I gotta give a couple shout outs to the people that commented on my post earlier about topics. South Africa's Sassafras 84. We didn't get to La Monica, but at @IM_Gizmo. For the most American meal of all time at Maverick Mentor. Thank you. And we didn't get to the Pardons either because we kind of went on conspiracy rant. Jum at Jim128949543. Damn, that's long. But anyways, thank you guys for commenting and joining the show. And if you see them on here, please follow them. That's all I have.
Please do. Yeah, All right, you guys. I guess that wraps it up. We went a little long today. Usually this podcast is only an hour, but man, that kind of went quick. We did get a little wrapped up in conspiracy theories, so sorry about that.
Took a little time.
Yeah. We're gonna try to be back on Friday. You guys, God bless you all, and God bless America. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Dusty plains and broken dreams, Cowboys and Indians on the same team. We got no masters, only our creed to break the chains and set us free. Riders on the prairie, wild and free, bows and arrows, cold 45's decree. No more tyranny, no more lies. Under open skies we rise. Fight, fight, fight till we reclaim the night. Cowboys and Indians in the blazing light. Fight, fight, fight till the dawn is near. We'll never live in fear. On the blood moon, we all unite. Horses thunder in the night. No longer slaves to the empire's might. Strength in numbers, strength in rise. On the blood moon, we unite. Horses thunder in the night.